Good evening, everybody. They haven't silenced my channel yet, so I'm going to keep on doing it every week. Okay, let's get over here to the Skype thingy and get this show underway. Got quite a few people we got to add into the call here. Mr. David F. Town Bala, right off the Batsky. JR wants to come on tonight, so we're going to add him in from across the pond and stuff. There's Kim. Get her added to the call as well. Mr. Lance Mussa. Whoop. Lance Mussa. Wait a minute. What happened to the call? Hanging up on you, buddy. Why did it drop my call? I started adding people, and Skype just instantly dropped the conversation. I wonder why that happened. Let's get you added in here, David. Answer up, and then we'll start the call after one of you picks up. What the fuck is going on, David? Okay, so what the? Why did I get dropped from my own conversation?
Hello.
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 Why did I get dropped from my own conversation? I can't figure that out. It instantly dropped me from the call when I started adding you people on. Unbelievable, man. Okay, who else is picking up? Let's see. We got Kim. Let's see. Add to call, Mr. David. Are you there, JR?
Yes.
Okay. And Kim, I heard you.
Hi, there.
Okay.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hi, Kim.
Trying to get David added in. Scrolling down here to get Lance added in to the call. All right. Let's see if this will work. There's Lance Mussa. Come on, David.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, I tried to answer the first time. It cut off before I could answer.
I know. Skype just dropped the call. I started adding people up, and they sliced it, and then Kim and JR called me back.
Oh, did I really? I wasn't sure what.
Well, it just showed up on my
I
screen.
didn't know what I was doing.
It just showed up on my screen,
I
so I added it into the call. So I don't know. Glitchy.
Either. I don't know either, because you know I'm not that great at computers.
Tried to
I
get
can't
Charlie
see
to come
Dave on
on.
here.
Charlie's got stuff he's got to do, I guess, still, so he's not going to be on for a while. He let me know when he was going to come back on the radio. Try to get Prepper Chicks.
Hi.
She's not up for the show tonight, so I don't know. We'll see. David, are you going to answer, man? I see you lit over there, brother. David F. Town Bala. Add to the call. So, Lance. Go ahead, JR.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I did see Dave lit up briefly, and then he's,
Yeah,
vanished again.
He's lit. He's lit over here on my end, anyway. I'm trying to get him
Anybody
out
ever
of
get hold of Vaughn?
I heard from Vaughn, actually. That was pretty loud in my ears. I'm sorry, everybody. I heard from Vaughn, actually, a couple days back. He said he had some stuff going on, and that's the reason that he had been away. So he's still alive and kicking.
Oh.
Just trying
Good.
to... I actually messaged him a little bit ago to ask him if he was going to come on tonight, but he's not lit up. So he got the message, though. He's got message forwarding. So howdy to everybody in the room. We're going to get going. I've added David in. David, if you're listening, brother, all you got to do is add into the call. That should be up on your desktop somewhere. I hope your computer's still working. I think it is, because I saw you posting earlier today on Facebook. So I don't know. He might be pooping, wiping his butt, getting ready to go for the show or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. Anyhow, let's carry on anyway. Lance, how's that housing market doing?
Rates are on the rise. That's all I can say. And man, I'll tell you, it's still around here. It's a weird market. I mean, I even got a phone call tonight home is $379,000. There's multiple offers on it. The seller said you got to offer at least full price, and he's not paying any closing cost. And I'm like, that's a little rare. I hadn't heard that kind of a deal going on. But
wow, he's got balls.
Who wants that?
Thinking that he's
that's
going
what
to.
I said.
Yeah, I hope he sells it in the next 2 weeks or so, because if he doesn't, he's going to be eating his words.
I mean, it's in a desirable part of Yorktown, but I mean, still, I haven't heard anything like that where there's competing offers. It's bringing over what it started at. When it started out pretty high, anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's getting ready to not matter where you're at, because the housing markets are crashing. I mean, they're just crashing. It might not be affecting your particular area right now, Lance, but man, if you've been paying attention to the metrics and shit across the country, it's coming down quick. You know, there's houses down in Florida now that less than a year ago were listed for almost $1 million, and they're down to under $500,000 now. I mean, they've come down almost 50%. So, you know, if anybody wants to go down to Florida and get yourself a McMansion, they're on sale.
Well, that happened right after the crash in 2008 too. I mean, you had all these condominiums being built, and then they were vacant because nobody'd buy them. So, I mean, you had buildings with 100 units in them that 3 units were occupied.
Right. And it's the same way with the condos. You know, the condos, they can't sell them anymore. Nobody's buying them anymore. They're sitting on a ton of them.
Are the prices going down? Yeah, see, that's the thing. They're sitting on them. That's the thing.
Well, some of them are on the market, though. I mean, some of them are actually listed on the market. A lot of them are tied up in real estate bubble shit, you know, that's going on between the banks or whatever, and they're not listing those because they don't want to flood the market with them, but because there's so many on the market already, you know, independent builders that went out. You know, independent builders that went out and dumped the money.
Foreclosures that are not on the market that should be on the market, and there are a lot of foreclosures that are actually showing on the market, but that's not even the beginning of what they've got that they're going to flood the market with. Something about derivatives and.
Go to Zillow.
Some of the bigger banks that have a lot of units, I mean, they would kind of space them out, I guess.
Go to Zillow and look.
Well,
I mean, just for single family homes, go to Zillow and look for all the ones that are listed at under foreclosure or for sale, and just look at the plethora of stuff that's on the market right now. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
there's a lot of bank-owned properties. I'll ask Adam. You on the couch? Hold on, my roommate's here. He's an agent.
Oh, right.
How many of the listings here are bank-owned properties or short sales? Yeah. A lot.
More than half, probably. More than half, I would guess.
Yeah, he can look up some of the numbers, but it's a fair amount, that's for sure.
Right. The genie said flooding the market with foreclosures destroys the bank's portfolios and weakens their buying and selling power. And it's with everybody, investors too. You know, there's a lot of Chinese-owned property all over the United States also, because they came over here when they were scared of the economy taking a shit over in China, and they invested all their money that they had in the bank in property over here in the U.S. So there's a lot of that too. And those homes are just sitting there. You know, some of them got the roofs falling in on them and shit, but they're still sitting on the property.
Mm-hmm.
So that's happening all over the place. Yep.
What I found actually fascinating, since you're talking about foreign investors, has got nothing to do with our foreclosure thing.
Right.
But that apartment in, or whatever it was, the slum in England that burnt down, they housed all those people, and a lot of, Grenfell, or whatever it was. They housed a lot of the people. They kind of confiscated a lot of the vacant foreign-owned apartments and filled them full of immigrants, or filled them full of the residents.
Yep.
I thought I remembered reading that, and I was like, how can they do that? Because they said there was a whole building, half of it was owned by Chinese people that never lived in them.
It's a damn good thing we got JR on tonight then, because JR can try to fill us in on some of that stuff. He lives over there. So, JR, over to you.
Yeah?
Fill us in on the whole Grenfell thing.
Well, what's been happening is, since the fire, a lot of the residents have been trying to get accommodation, but they've only been getting temporary accommodation, and they haven't been getting anything permanent until for the past 3 weeks. And also, on top of that, the council have still been charging them rent for their for their apartments, which have burned down.
Burnt down apartments,
yeah. So there's a big hoo-ha about that.
And there's also over 200 other buildings that have the same cladding on the outside of them. Well,
yeah, and it's still growing because
they're still doing investigations, and
yeah, that number will increase, I think.
Are they talking about? Are they going to tear down Grenfell and start and build a new building, or are they going to try to rebuild that hunk of shit?
Well, at the moment, it's still being sorted through. I think they said they removed the last known remains yesterday, or and what they could find.
What's the death toll?
Yeah?
What's the death toll now?
Well, the official death toll is 82, but it could be a lot higher because they cannot identify all the bodies because the fire was so ferocious that it burns anything that is there in the way of remains will not be identifiable, not even teeth. It was so hot.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I know people that have been cremated, and I know how hot you have to get the fire to cremate a human body, and that fire did not burn that hot. I'm sorry, it did not.
Well, what they're saying is they won't be able to identify everybody because they used to use that place for housing refugees as well. It says one of the first person who was named was a Syrian refugee, which is unfortunate because he's come from out of the fire and has been killed by fire. Okay, so
that's a bunch. They're covering something up. I guarantee you, they're covering something up.
Oh, of course they are.
How many people are listed as missing?
Yeah, it's a government failure. And it is being brought to light now by the 200 plus other apartment buildings.
How many people from Grenfell Tower are still listed as missing?
They don't know that enough, or they're not saying. See, the whole thing of this.
How in the hell can you not know how many people are missing from that building?
Well, because each apartment would have anywhere from 4 to 12 people in it, but there'd only be 3 people on the lease.
There's family members that are looking, I'm sure.
Yeah, and also, so some apartment flats or some flats had 3 or 4 generations of people in it, uncles.
There's still family looking, I'm certain.
I know, yeah, but
there was a lady on the internet. There was a lady on the internet that was. Right after that whole thing happened, I looked it up after that show where I didn't even know anything about it. So I looked it up that night after I got off, and she was saying that they were keeping things from them, that they weren't telling them everything, and that she wanted to know where these people were. And
there are people that have been collecting food since the incident happened and trying to deliver goods to these people. Right. That are unhoused now, and they cannot find out where they're at. They won't give them any information. The government just takes all the handouts.
Drop off the map, though.
Well,
I mean, seriously, if you were alive and you knew that you could disappear and start a new identity by saying you were dead, I mean that just seems feasible to me.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah,
remember 9/11? There were people that did that on 9/11.
Well, what's happening is the government are sending in a task force.
Oh boy! Here comes the government to save the fucking day.
Okay,
they're all dirty.
They're all dirty. Yeah. Thanks, Kim.
Of course you are. Yeah. Our government
and
is the dirtiest government you can think of.
I watched a little tit for tat today on a video on YouTube, and the only thing that they seemed to discuss in Parliament was the Tories and the Labour Party were going tit for tat across the floor, trying to tell each other who was going to make more jobs. Nothing came up about Grenfell. Nobody gave a shit about Grenfell. Blah 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 blah. Well, it just blows me away, man. It blows me away that the people
behind
just...
the scenes. Jeremy Corbyn, the opposition leader, he is using that to highlight the gross negligence in the funding for the emergency services and also funding for proper housing, because there's a major problem with our housing.
There's a major problem with your government.
Mm-hmm.
I know, yeah, it's austerity. Yeah. They are trying to cut down on everything, and austerity now is costing lives. It's cost 82 lives, and it's going to cost a hell of a lot more if they don't get it sorted. And austerity, in the long run, is going to cost them more to fix the problems that they should have done.
It's not going to cost them shit because they don't pay for fuck all. They charge you.
It's me, the taxpayer.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's
and
me,
if,
the taxpayer.
If the time should come when your ass can't keep up with all the debt that your government decides to bestow upon you, then they'll just print more money. They'll just print more money and make you pay that debt off, or make your children pay that debt off, or your grandchildren pay that debt off. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, up in Chicago, I have a friend up in Chicago, and I worry about that. And they just got
worry about it. They're filing for bankruptcy, man.
To cover their debt.
Yeah, 32%. Yeah. I used to live in Illinois. You can't tell me anything about Illinois.
What they have to pay outside, like for milk, and you know how everything costs tax upon everything. Everything is taxed. Everything above and beyond everything.
I've actually got a story about Illinois that I'm going to bring up here since you.
So now what's going to happen?
Since you brought that up, let me jump over here to my Twitter feed and get this story for you guys. Yeah, 32% tax increase. Let's see. This is the latest from Zero Hedge. Terrible news for Illinois. Moody's puts state on review for downgrade to junk despite their budget. What budget? They don't have a budget. The passage of Illinois' budget, which is scheduled for tomorrow, despite the veto of Governor Rauner, which was duly overridden on July 4th, was supposed to be a critical catalyst that saved the state from a downgrade to junk status by the rating agencies, a first in U.S. history. Unfortunately, moments ago, Moody's said that the passage of the budget may have been too little, too late, and moments ago, the rating agency said that it had placed the ratings of Illinois' Baa3 general obligation under review for possible downgrade, citing the state's failure to fully enact timely budgets for fiscal years that began in July. Its failure to achieve broad political consensus on how to move forward toward balanced financial operations. A downgrade from Baa3, even by just one notch, means that Illinois would become the first state rated as junk, potentially forcing many muni bond managers to dump its bonds and sending its cost of funding sharply higher, despite a relief rally that took place today on hopes that the state's day of reckoning had been pushed indefinitely into the future. They got the full note from Moody's below. If you guys want to read it, that's the gist of the story from Zero Hedge. If you guys want to jump over there and find it, you can find it. So that's Illinois for you. They're not officially filing bankruptcy, but they are bankrupt. They have been bankrupt for quite a long time, and nothing's going to change. They're not the only one. New Jersey, Maine, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, California. Yeah, it goes. The list goes on and on and on. The states that are in financial difficulty numbers over 30 of the 50. So go ahead, Lance.
That story when you said New Jersey of all the beaches were closed for all the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, and his
Chris
fat
Christie
ass
went out there on the private beach. Well, it's public beach, but private beach because nobody was out there. And then miraculously, the budget gets put together that night, and they open the park back the next day. Dude, that's just some funny hinky shit right there.
They meaned the crap out of him, his fat ass sitting on the chair there with his family. The only people on the entire beach.
I heard his press. He was trying to justify. I was not sunning. I was sitting there in a shirt and a hat talking to my family.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you douche. You were on a private beach that your government closed for bullshit reasons. Political posturing is what it was going on.
They actually posted.
Like they closed it so who could have it.
Go ahead, Kim. Sorry.
I'm asking you, did they close it so he can have the private beach? Is that what you're saying?
That's
that's
pretty much what it looked like. But that's what it looked like. You know, it was only closed for one day, and it happened to be the 4th of July, so that he could go out there and sit on his beach outside the governor's mansion by himself and not have to deal with the riffraff.
Must be good to be.
No, I think it was closed the Friday, Saturday, Sunday of 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, 4th of July weekend.
And then they opened it back up either Monday or Tuesday for the actual holiday. All of them were open back up either the 3rd or the 4th. I can't remember which day.
Imagine that. So the days that nobody could go out with their families and stuff, they went ahead and opened it back up.
Exactly. The days that everybody was off, all that weekend, all the people coming in out of town, all the national parks are closed. Give me a fucking break. I mean, we didn't close one of ours here. We had extra people at them.
They actually posted armed guards at the parks in New Jersey to make sure that nobody tried to pass.
Well, they did that in D.C. They did that on the National Mall, if you remember, during sequestration.
Yeah. You know, that property doesn't belong to the government. It belongs to the people of the state because the people are the state, and it's state-owned property. That's unconstitutional to the nth degree. They cannot block state parks. They just can't. That's unconstitutional. But you know,
the state is the one that blocked it. I mean, the federal government and the state is the one that blocked it because they were the ones with the budget impasse.
Yeah, but the state doesn't own the fucking ground. The people do. That's what I'm trying to say. Just like the federal government doesn't own federal land, it only manages federal land. The land belongs to the people. They only manage it. Well, and they don't do a good job at that. So
yeah, somebody should tell them that.
Yeah. Well, it's in the Constitution, but nobody seems to want to grow a set of balls anymore and say anything about it. You know, give them a big fucking finger and tell them to get out of your way. You're a public servant. Go sit in your fucking car.
No, the problem is now if you disagree with the government, you're un-American. So.
Right. You're anti-government.
Yeah, you're anti-government. You're un-American if you're anti-government.
Right.
You're anti-American for everything, though.
Homegrown radical.
They hate us.
Right. They call us homegrown radicals if we question them.
They just want the money from the taxes because there's that deep state that they're funding. There's two different governments or whatever. There's all of us.
No, it's all one government because they all work for the same fucking people. They all work for the banks. You know, deep state, whatever. Yeah. Deep state is just the people that have been in there for 30 fucking years that they can't get rid of. And wow, you're making a lot of noise over there, Kim.
Sorry.
I think she's washing the dishes.
Sounds like it.
Actually, I'm making sugar cookies.
Oh, right. Oh, close.
Yeah. I wanted the house to smell homey.
Nice. Yep. Okay. Who else has something they want to discuss? Anybody got any stories that are right on top of their lists? I guess David's not going to make it on.
I still want to know why I don't see anything in the news about prosecuting that cargo ship that killed the sailor. Turns out over the weekend, one of those sailors was right from here. Mm-hmm. He went to my in-laws' church, the Catholic church that's right down the road, mm-hmm. And they had his funeral there this weekend. And, I mean, it was attended by a ton of people.
The ship was on autopilot, they said. You know, what are they going to do, prosecute a computer?
It made a U-turn, though. I mean, I know. I want to know why that story dropped off the face of the earth. I just don't get it.
It's another cover-up.
Yeah. Let's talk about...
well, it doesn't serve any agenda or anything. It doesn't make any brownie points for any of their agendas. Why would they keep it on the circuit?
It was an actual event. It wasn't a staged event, so they don't want to make any big deal out of it. Right? Because it was an actual event.
But I think it's a big deal.
I don't think they want to make a big deal out of it because, you know, that ship was equipped with the Aegis system and a bunch of other high-tech, multi-billion-dollar fucking funded whatevers, and the thing didn't even see the ship coming at them, you know? So, I
mean, they could have sunk that thing.
What an embarrassing... Yeah, there was just another huge embarrassment for the United States Navy. A huge embarrassment. The ship was smaller. It was more agile. All they had to do was hit the fucking throttle. But all those millions, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of equipment on that ship and it gets hit by a fucking city block.
It's almost like they do everything on, well, of course they do everything on purpose, but they've got everybody, you know, Trump is just a laughing stock. Obama was a laughing stock. And then you've got all of our military being fired throughout the last 8 years, and now we're a laughing stock no matter what we do.
Yeah, we're an embarrassment.
Like you said, all it took was for them to stop it before it hit them.
They could have shot holes in the fucking thing and put it on the bottom if they wanted to, but all they had to do was hit the throttle and get out of the way. I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it. Were we anchored up and couldn't move? I don't get it. I don't get it. And the fact that they're not making a big stink about it anymore, and it just fell off the headlines, is even more cause to say, what the fuck, Charlie?
Yeah, they're not even saying nothing to see here, move along.
Right.
That's interesting. The fact that they're not even doing that, and it fell apart without anybody even doing that.
Are the families making any kind of stink, Lance? Have you heard? I mean, with the funeral being there, they're not questioning anything.
Nope.
They don't want any answers.
No, they're being good soldiers' families, sailors' families.
Got their $500,000 payout for their kid losing his life during combat, or during some maneuver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember those 4 Marines that got shot and killed at their? It's where you sign up other Marines. The
recruitment station, the recruitment office. Yeah.
The MEP station.
Yes, those 4 Marines, and one was really, really young. I forget his name, but one of my close friends, well, she's a work friend. Her sons are twins, and they grew up with that youngest Marine that got shot and killed because they weren't allowed to carry guns or anything. I think it was Tennessee or maybe Alabama, but he was from Georgia, the youngest one, and they did talk about it a lot. I mean, originally it went all throughout the churches, and it was something that they tried not to let drop, but eventually it just dropped. But you guys remember that, right?
Yeah.
Those 4 Marines that got killed?
Yep.
Because they couldn't carry guns. Okay. I think it was like 2.5 years ago, 3, maybe 3.5 years ago. Like 3 years ago.
Yep, we did stories on it. Talked about them not being able to carry weapons on post either. They passed a law where they couldn't carry weapons on post for a while. I think that all got squashed. So
ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that are supposed to protect us. So why aren't they allowed to carry guns? It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Exactly.
And when you were allowed to carry guns, you weren't allowed to carry ammo with it.
Right.
Because we would do gate duty with our guns, but no ammo.
But how's that going to help you if you have to protect the base?
It doesn't. It doesn't. Unless you throw them at them.
God.
Hey, real quick, touch when you said growing up with somebody, it reminded me something I wanted to mention. My sister-in-law, Cheryl, went out to Washington for 10 days a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Stayed with her sister. Her sister's boyfriend in high school all the way through college and everything was in the same fraternity as Sean Spicer at whatever college they went back to in the 80s, and said he was just as big of a dick then as he is right now.
No shit.
No shit. He said he was just as big of an asshole.
That's awesome. Oh, shit.
I got a good article I wouldn't mind reading.
Go ahead.
That I read today on
Holy
media.
Shit. Everybody hit your record button. Lance is about to read an article. This is like, I bet this hasn't happened.
It's a short one.
I'll bet this hasn't happened in 6 months. Lance is getting ready to actually read an article on the show.
But this was so poignant on where we're at in CNN and everything else. There has not been a war in recent times.
Sorry, go ahead.
That began without a powerful press artillery and precision bombing by the media. RT editors-in-chief said, speaking in front of President Putin and Xi Jinping, she expressed her concern over the media's growing and often boundless influence and the way it changes the world around us. We live in unique times when the media in many countries is trying to become, and sometimes becomes, the first, sets the rules of the game, controls public opinion, doesn't just change people's attitude towards a leader or a state, but alters the values of entire societies. The media has become a weapon and a life-changing tool at the same time. Not a single war in recent years started without a powerful press military. Not a single battle happened without previous precision bombing by TV, radio, newspaper, and online sources. The media can also change people's perception of public figures, like making an unheard of ordinary person, for instance, Barack Obama, the hero of a generation overnight, or vice versa, making a generation's hero like Julian Assange into an outcast and a misfit. Even more than that, the media can change the fates of entire nations. Their leaders sometimes even shift the borders. For instance, Kosovo would have never been possible without one-sided and biased media coverage by all the world's media, the so-called mainstream, with no exception. The power of the press, sometimes boundless, can be used for good when we save innocent, fight injustice, tyranny, corruption. But she provided striking examples of the media adjusting the narrative to fit the agenda. The kids in Aleppo, the Syrian girl running. I mean, we know those were all staged photos. So, in the article goes on, it talks about fake stories and everything else. But it was so poignant because I read it and I was like, how can we talk about this all the time and everybody's still got their head up their ass?
And now let's talk about Project Veritas that just slayed CNN with their undercover videos.
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up,
Hey,
David?
Dave.
Thanks for joining up, brother.
Hi.
I hope I didn't wake you up or anything, hitting you with all those calls and stuff.
No, I was out in my garage. I was looking at my son's bike.
Oh, right on.
Just bought the damn thing for him and already broke the back brake on it.
Yeah, brand new bike too. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Made in China.
Yeah, from Wally Town. So
Right.
it was a mountain bike. It's like I don't know how many speeds it's gone on it, but yeah, he just had it for like a month already and already ripped the back brake off of it.
They're designed to break, so you got to buy another one or replace shit on it. I mean, that's just the way they make them.
I agree.
Well, it didn't help. He dropped it against a park bench either. He admitted that much.
Oops. Yeah, you don't need any back brakes. Fuck it.
That's what he said because I couldn't fix it. I said, dude, I guess you just got a front brake. You better not hit that too hard. You're gonna go flying over the handlebars.
Get him on YouTube and teach him about squid life and on a bike and whatever, and teach him how to split lanes and traffic and whatever. He don't need no brakes. Fuck it.
He goes to all these different football fields around here with him and his buddies. They're all a bunch of jocks, so they go around playing basketball and football. They go. He's like, he's going to be 15. They like play. They've got like they started their own league here. The neighborhood kids did these. They're all like freshmen and sophomore high, kids, and they all just basically do 2-on-man, two against two teams on basketball and everything. I'm sure they play for money on the side. I told him he better not be fucking gambling.
Very cool, man. If he gambles, tell him to gamble for silver coins. So if you're going to
It
gamble,
just worries me.
make sure it's pure
side
silver.
of town where all the Somalians live, and they play the Somalians. The white guys play the Somalians.
Oh yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
I said, don't be. I told him, I laid into him. I said, don't be going down that road, dude, of crazy shit. Don't be fucking doing it.
I agree.
Right.
Oh my God.
Tell them, don't forget, there's a line on your tax returns for gambling winnings too.
No, tell them don't file taxes.
I told him,
Taxes
don't trust
are
those Somalians. I said, they'll jump you and take whatever you fucking got, man.
right, just because they're pissed off that you dunked on them and shit. So yeah, be careful.
You disappear. Cut your legs off and straight to the sharks.
I don't think there's any sharks up in Dakota, but I see where you're getting.
No, this ain't like New York.
Pond.
This ain't like Chicago or New York City or nothing. Even though we live in the biggest town in North Dakota, but it's still one of the smallest big towns in America.
What about those tree chopper things? Those are pretty scary. That would be a way to make you disappear. I'm telling you, those people can do whatever. Anybody that wants to get rid of someone can do it.
Yeah.
Not that they would have access to something like that.
I'm
just saying.
Does he have a GoPro or anything like that?
No.
Well, he ought to get it like a camera or something that's obvious that he's wearing a camera, so they won't. I mean, they're less apt to jump you when they know that you're filming shit and whatever. Mm-hmm. So
he's a good kid. He's going to play high school basketball. He's going into high school this upcoming year, and
they might steal it from him too.
And yeah, that's exactly it. I'm afraid they're going to steal his bike, and I said, dude, don't let them steal that fucking bike from you, man. You don't want to come home if that happens.
You got a good lock? Oh, goodness. Tell him to put a good lock on it every time he gets off of it.
Yeah, I gave him a good lock. I went out and bought him. We bought him a good lock for it, but he don't ever use it.
Yeah.
Well, that is just irritating.
Kids are going to be kids, I guess.
I know, that's still irritating as heck.
All right, David.
How are you, Dave?
Yeah. Oh. That's what I was just getting ready to ask. Thanks, JR.
What's up, JR? Sorry, I didn't mean to derail your show with my bullshit. JR.
No. You're good, brother. I'm just glad you added in, man.
How are you, Dave?
Yeah, how are you? I saw you got out in the sun. I saw your posts on Facebook and stuff. So,
well, I'll tell you what. Yesterday was like 98% humidity here. It was like 105 degrees with the humidity, and it was just so humid that my hands, since I found out extreme cold will blow my fingers up in my arm, all my nerve pain will just like swell up. And yesterday we were out there, my son was barbecuing and stuff, and we were shooting off fireworks, and I swear my hand blew up the size of a fucking balloon. I couldn't sleep all night. I guess that high humidity affects nerve pain real bad too.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
How warm was it yesterday, though, with the humidity?
It was about 98%.
Wow.
It was like 100 between the regular temperature and the dew point is like 104 degrees up until like 11 o'clock last night.
That's a lot. That's
crazy. It can get 40 below here in the wintertime, and then up to 104 and 105. I've seen high as 108 before up here in the summer. So it's crazy, man. We don't got no in between. We either got bitter cold or burning hot.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and with all your medical, issues, of course you're going to have more extreme sensitivities, especially with those different,
let me tell you something, guy. I think they released some GMO mosquitoes up here because we're in a drought. This whole state is in a major drought. The West and Central's a lot more than us in the East, but we're in a drought too. But we haven't had a lot of rain. These mosquitoes that are flying around this year, my wife even told me today, they're the size of freaking quarters, just like Texas mosquitoes. I've never in the 30-something years I've lived here seen mosquitoes the size of this with no rain.
Yeah, ours down here in Georgia are freaking huge, like Jurassic Park mosquitoes.
Well, I can see if we've had a lot of rain, but we haven't had hardly any rain. These things shouldn't be near this size.
Well, we did. I mean, they're like the size of a drone mosquito. They're huge.
Yeah, that's how big these were. You could see these things coming at you like wasp. They look like almost like wasp. I'm like, holy shit, you're bobbing and weaving all last.
I know.
Sounds like the mosquitoes that used to be up in Alaska when I was stationed up in Alaska. Those things are fucking huge, man. This was 30 years ago. So, yeah.
These are like GMO mosquitoes, man. These are like specially made, I think.
They probably are. Been eating their Wheaties and taking all their vaccines like they're supposed to and turned into monster mosquitoes.
By the way, I made like a really light dinner last night. It was very colorful, all these fresh vegetables, and I cut the corn on the cob right off the cob to put in the salad. And there were some really odd shapes, like really big and bulbous, weird shapes. They looked like GMO corn. It was just the weirdest shaped corn kernels ever. And the rest of them were fine, but then there were those weirdo ones, and it made me wonder. I did like a double take.
You can get that. If the corn's been probably cross-pollinated by a different corn, then it can mutate. Okay, so that can happen.
It just cross-pollinated with dent.
Yeah.
Because we can't.
GMO corn.
Tell by looking at something if it's GMO. You guys.
Yeah, GMO corn is identical. Every ear will be almost identical.
Oh.
Exactly. Yeah.
All the corn kernels will be the same size. Yeah. They look perfect. They look too perfect.
It's all uniform. Okay.
Yeah.
And also, it's a bit like your curly cucumbers. And straight cucumbers.
Cucumbers are the best.
Oh, of course they are. I love them. But it causes bad constipation.
What? Cucumbers give you constipation? Yeah. I never knew that. I never had constipation from cucumbers.
I love cucumbers, man. Pickles.
I do, yeah, they're lovely.
That used to be my nickname as a little girl because I used to love cucumbers. I used to pick them right out of the garden and bring them in.
Cucumber sandwiches. You can't beat them.
Yep. With mayonnaise, salt, and pepper. Absolutely. You got it.
I just do the salt and cucumber, man. Give me a cucumber and a salt shaker.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a happy motherfucker, man.
Yeah,
definitely. Nice. I could do that with a tomato. I've done that with corn right out of the garden. I don't care.
Corn right out of the garden. If you got really good sweet corn, you don't have to put anything on it.
I grew up.
If you got really good sweet corn, you don't have to put anything on it. You can eat that shit straight out of the garden, and it's just delicious.
Yeah, and when it's warm from the sun, it's like, oh my god, it's like wonderful. I wish my kids had those memories. They don't.
A lot of children nowadays grow up without the knowledge of what living's about. Okay,
they don't know. They can't.
They're too surrounded by technology, so they're not living the real world. They're living a synthetic online world, which is not correct.
Yeah, I picked cherries off of a tree, apples off a tree. I don't know that my kids have ever done that either. I mean, there's a lot of things my kids have done.
I've done that myself and had stomachache. It's great.
That's why they say
plant right off the tree, delicious.
That's why they say plant a garden, don't grow a yard. You know, don't plant grass, plant a garden.
Exactly.
All right, let's get into some headlines now that we've got Mr. David F. Town Bala on the show. What's on top of your stack of stuff over there, brother?
North Korea.
We can talk about North Korea. You know, we're at a crazy time. You know, with this right now. I watched the UN meeting today, and you see Nikki Haley go out there, and she basically told the whole UN. She says, you either all pass this sanctions, more sanctions on North Korea, or we're going to take military action. They said, we don't have a choice now. And China and Russia both spoke, and they both are against it. China and Russia told us point blank at the UN, no, America, you're not going to invade North Korea, fortunately enough. And, I'm on the fence with this, who knows what we're being told, what is real. I personally don't think that little Kim would use a nuke in an offensive posture. I think to him it's defensive and that it's money in the bank to him. And I've always stated that. And I don't really care for the dude, believe me. But I don't think he would use it offensively. Is this a reason? A story just came out the other night that North Korea has $7 trillion in untouched minerals right now of what do you call them? Those rare earth minerals.
Yeah, rare earth minerals, precious metals, oil, coal. They got all kinds of shit there. $7 trillion worth because they don't have the machinery because of sanctions to pull them out. Right. All they can do is surface dig.
We would love to have that.
It's all about the money, man. All you got to do is follow the money. It's all about the money.
Well, like I said, they use these rare earth minerals mainly in electronics, and it's electronic world. There's a lot of money to be made.
Yeah, they're trying to make. Right. That's why we're still in Afghanistan because there's lithium there. And gold and whatever the fuck else.
Guess what, you guys?
We're never leaving Afghanistan. We're never leaving Iraq either because of Iraqi oil. What's that, Kim? Go ahead.
Real quick, the gold, silver with the COMEX and all the different, like the couple of different big things that control the price of the gold and silver. Mm-hmm. Well, China and Russia and I think it's Syria. I want to say Syria, but I can't be sure. But I know for sure China and Russia, they have stockpiled so much gold. They are getting ready to put their own gold out there, and it's going to shed the light on how the COMEX and the other entities that determine the price of the gold and silver have been manipulated all this time.
Yeah, so that's getting ready to show its face. We've been talking about that for years. China's got well over 10,000 tons of gold because every ounce they mine in that country stays in that country, and they've been buying tons and tons and tons for shit since I've been on the radio. So yeah, that's old hat.
This is something just in the last couple of days they were talking about all over the internet, everywhere.
Yeah. All right, back to your story, David.
All right, this just came out just now from North Korea, from Admiral Harris, that in charge of the U.S. Pacific Command there. He just said every responsible contributor to international security must publicly and privately work to bring Kim Jong-un to his senses. And like I was getting back to the UN, Russia and China says, no, we don't even want any more sanctions on them. You're hurting the people now instead of just the government. And Nikki Haley's like, well,
fucking Nikki Haley.
We're not the one that chose this road. Basically, Kim, just 1 second here. My dog wants out.
Nikki Haley has got a banker's hand so far up her ass, making her mouth move. It's not even funny.
Ew.
Well, it's the truth, but the deal is this: it seems like America's given the last warning here. They're basically telling everyone, this is this. You either back more sanctions on this country. He's got an ICBM now. It was proven to be a 2-stage ICBM.
Yeah, they said it could reach. With the trajectory they shot it at, it could reach Alaska, no problem.
Yeah, Alaska, no problem. They put out a list today of places it would hit, and this is straight from our government.
3,700 plus miles or something like that. 4,000 plus miles.
They said it could hit Guam now. They said it could. They know it could hit Hawaii now. They know it could hit Alaska now.
Yep.
And they said he's by the end of next year at least, he may be able to hit the middle of the United States.
Look, so I got something I want to toss out about China and North Korea and this missile launch. And tell me what you think. I think that because of the United States fucking around down around the Sakekus or whatever the islands are down there in the Sea of China, we sent a bunch of ships over there, plotting around, fucking with the Chinese, waving a fucking finger at them, yada yada, and they sent some ships out too. I think that they gave Kim that missile and said, "Here, man, take this out in the middle of nowhere," because it's a mobile launch. Nobody expected it to be a mobile launch thing.
No, we didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
But why?
Just because they wanted to get the U.S. to back up for a second.
You're right, Jim. You're absolutely right. China signed off on this missile launch because we just sanctioned Chinese banks working with the North Koreans the other day.
And listen to this, too. I don't know if anybody heard this, but China today just stopped all independent visas going to South Korea from their country.
Yep. Yep.
No one's allowed to travel to South Korea anymore. I think they know that this thing's getting ready to go full hot.
Oh, yeah, it is. Japan's been having anti-missile drills for its people, civil defense drills every week now.
Yep. Duck and cover, people. Duck and cover.
But yet, South Korea came out, their new liberal president, and he said he only backs sanctions so far. He's not ready for military action, and that's going to be a thorn in our side somehow, some way. We need to get him on board with military action, since it's going to be most of his people that get killed over there right away. And they're talking within the first salvos of war. They said close to 300,000 to 100,000 to 300,000 people will die right away over there.
Nighthawk just said, look what Nighthawk said in the room. He said, you can bet we have a nuke sub or two right off their coast. I'll bet they got a couple off of ours too, Bubba.
They have stuff off ours too. Yeah, I was just
the deal is Russia's in on this too. If you look back at the history of North Korea, Russia's the one that installed the first government there.
Yeah.
And so this goes back to Putin. Putin has a very small border there with China and North Korea, and China and Russia have been moving up troops right and left for the past ever since the first carrier went over to that part of the world 2 months ago. They've been sending troops to their borders, building up. They know what's coming too. And this is where I'm on the fence. Is this more nation building from the West, or is this a legitimate thing? Does he really have and even if he did, I still don't believe he would use it offensively. I could be wrong, but I don't think he that would be suicide for him. I don't think the guy is completely that stupid, but that would be suicide for him if he did have one and did launch it offensively.
Give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. These people that are in charge of these countries, I don't care what country it is, and I don't care what leader you're talking about, they don't give a fuck about the people. All we are is a means to an end. We are nothing but tax money. That's all we are is tax money.
I'm sure Kim Jong-un's been offered to pass its way to China once the missiles start flying. I'm sure they've got tunnels dug all the way underneath the Yellow River into China for him to get away.
Fuck yeah, man.
And he'll get away, and his people will get fucking slaughtered. Which I hate to say this, but with this, if they live as bad as portrayed, maybe would it be a bad thing? I don't know, but they're
human sacrifice. They're a human sacrifice. It's population control. That's all it is to them.
It is.
Right.
Those minerals, those $7 trillion in minerals are worth more than one North Korean's life.
Because the General Electric and Caterpillar and everybody's going to step up to the bat after this is all over with, and they're going to say, "Oh, we'll go over there and help you guys rebuild."
But China's not going to step aside no matter what. We're going to have to go through China to do this.
Halliburton will be in there.
Are they willing to do this? Are they really willing to go through China to get to North Korea? Just like, are we willing to go through Russia to get to Assad? Is this how bad?
Well, they'll do whatever they want because they'll use all of these people to do it. All the soldiers. It's not their kids that are doing
it. If nukes start flying, it won't serve a purpose, is what I'm saying. If we go through Russia or China or both, there's going to be nukes flying.
Right.
And my deal is, are they willing to really burn this world down just to prove a point?
Absolutely. They didn't build these toys just to look at them. They didn't build all this shit just to look at it. They want to play with it.
What about their stupid world? Don't they want to have a world after this? They screw this one up.
They're all transhumanists, man. They think that they're just going to be able to pull their brain out and stick it in a fucking robot and live forever. They're transhumanist.
Yeah, in a city world that's covered in nastiness from.
They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. Their place. They've got enough money. Their place will be beautiful.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Really, that's where all the dark state money went, or whatever the heck it's called.
Yeah.
That's why they're always trying to find other planets to live on.
Yeah, we don't go. We have never been out into outer space, Bubba. We've never been there. We can't go there.
Don't stop this. Don't stop this.
I was going to ask you real quick about something. You know how asteroids have left? Asteroids, I think, are bigger than comets, but asteroids, they leave the big, indentation, and then they were talking about different ones.
Craters.
Yeah, craters. So if those are coming from outer space, does that mean they went through the firmament, or does that mean the stars are inside the firmament?
They went through our atmosphere to hit our planet.
Mm-hmm.
So they went through the firmament? I thought that was hard.
They come from God.
I'm not saying.
No,
they come from space. They come from other dead planets, or planets which have been.
I get all that, but I'm talking on a flat Earth level, Jay.
I'm not talking about flat Earth.
But I am.
I'm sorry,
I understand all the other stuff. I took a bunch of science stuff in high school and college, but I'm just saying on a flat Earth level, it just makes me wonder.
Science is JR's God.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is too. You believe science more than you believe the Bible. So science is your God, brother. I mean, everything you say, the science is your God. You believe science more than you believe the Bible.
So I think they made up bullshit lies and made everybody. They put a bunch of mumbo jumbo in there with the space flights and everything, and they made any normal person back then would never have thought to question a scientist with that stern, demeanor that they would have when they would come on the CBS News.
We're getting off in a rabbit hole.
Question them.
We're getting down a rabbit hole that I wasn't intending on going down. So we're going to go back to the headlines and stuff.
Back to Dave.
Yeah,
okay. Dave.
Talk about Korea and China and all that shit. So, go ahead.
Qatar.
Yeah, I got a little bit on all that. Back to North Korea though. Basically our message to the UN is that we'll go our own path. That was her exact words, But, what I've noticed with Nikki Haley and Donald Trump and everybody else in the administration, they all say their own things. And whether Trump lets them say their own things or he doesn't know that they're saying their own things, I don't know. Haley's always talking 100 times tougher than what Trump is.
That's because she's a mouthpiece for the UN, man. She gets her fucking talking points straight from the bankers. She's up there talking to the world leaders and stuff. She's not on Twitter like the president. She's not making fun of Mika Brzezinski's fucking facelift and shit like a little 10-year-old. You know.
I'll tell you something. She went on. She went on Twitter yesterday on the 4th of July, and she made a statement. She says, I'm celebrating my 4th in all kinds of meetings, and she put hashtag thanks North Korea, and everybody ripped into her. They're like, listen, lady, you know, you're not the only one that has to work on the 4th of July. Right. You know, you're there doing what we pay your ass to do, whether you have to work on a holiday or not.
That's right. Period. That's called being a public servant, biatch.
And she got ripped. I mean, just pages and pages and pages on Twitter. People,
good.
Everybody I know works.
But I will say this: her husband is an officer in the military. He's been a career officer, and he's still in. And so
he's going to be a politician. That much. That's because he's going to be a politician. He probably came straight out of fucking Annapolis. He's one of those ones that got tapped on the shoulder.
But for her to go on Twitter and make a statement like that our world politics are inconvenience her on a holiday was bullshit, man. I even wrote something back to her. I said, listen, we pay your taxes. You got to work. You got to work.
You know that she's a Hindu?
Yeah, she's something.
I thought she was Native American.
No. She's Hindu. Yeah, she's Hindu.
All right.
She worships elephants.
Hindu. Who?
She worships elephants.
That's fair enough. Yeah, great. Mm-hmm. I like Hindus.
All right. Moving on. Let's talk about Qatar. I saw someone in the room. I can't remember who it was. I'm sorry for chat room. I'm sorry I didn't pay that close of attention, but somebody wants to know about Qatar and whether or not they're going to get invaded by the gang of Jews known as Saudi Arabia.
Nah, I don't think anything's going to happen. You know, they're 48 hours extra that they got ran out. You know, I'm making a decision on all these demands that were sent to them. And Qatar came right out and said, this is ridiculous. We're not doing this. Some of them just can't be met. And then Saudi came back and Egypt and Bahrain and UAE and basically told them, you need to make a decision, you know. And
shit or get off the pot, Bow.
Well, that's it. And they're just basically, they're just going to put more sanctions on them. No one's going to invade them anytime soon. Turkey even came out today, Erdogan, and said, if Qatar asks us to move our military base out of there, we'll do it, but only if they ask us. So everybody's kind of conceding a little bit. Even Saudi, they came back today and said, all right, if you can't meet those first demands, here's a list of other demands maybe you could meet. And it was
Nobody wants to fight.
It was basically the same list they issued the first time, watered down a little bit. But
Qatar is not afraid.
Fight in the very beginning, anyway. You know,
Qatar is not afraid of Saudi Arabia, just like Yemen wasn't afraid of Saudi Arabia. Yemen was handing Saudi Arabia their ass until the UK and the US decided to get involved and start dropping bombs ourselves. So Saudi Arabia, they are nothing. They are nothing but a bank account. They are nothing. Anyway.
So that's why they're not afraid of them?
Yeah. Qatar has more oil underneath it than Saudi Arabia does. They're not afraid of anything. They're not afraid of anything coming out of the South. Huh? Say that again?
They make it look like they're enemies.
Well, you know, they want to kick them out of the Gulf States Alliance or whatever the fuck they call it. Who cares? Qatar doesn't care. People will still buy our oil, man. We got oil.
It's the liquid natural gas that they have the corner market.
Oh, excuse me, LNG. Still petroleum. My bad.
Yeah. LNG.
Yeah, those ships are really easy to bang. They're really dangerous boats. They really are. I mean, it's just 3 big balls of fucking gas. You know, put a missile in the side of them and kaflooey.
I hope not. All those poor men on the boat.
Shit, there's only about a crew of 5, man. The boat runs itself. Go ahead.
You know, nothing militarily is going to happen anytime soon with Qatar unless something else kicks it off, you know. And
we got too many men there. The U.S. won't let it happen. We got too many people at that air base.
Someone tapped Trump on the shoulder and said, you do know we got 10,000 troops there.
Right, so shut your pie hole.
You know, yeah, exactly.
Plus, we just sold them a shit ton of planes, man. I mean, you're looking like a jackass selling them a bunch of weapon systems and then calling them terrorists. You know, you're talking at both sides of your face. You notice he shut up really quick after all that aired.
Exactly.
Yeah, talking out of both sides of their faces. I know a lot of people that do that.
So what else? Syria, the deconfliction zones where they were going to set up with Russia and Turkey and Iran fell through today. It didn't get signed. This was their 5th meeting on it, and basically it blew up.
Whoops.
So Putin didn't count on that. Iran and Hezbollah and some other groups there threw a big wrench into it. Said, no, we're not going to go for that. We're going to keep fighting.
Yeah, Russia dropped some fucking serious missiles on them today, actually.
Yeah, and Hezbollah, it's
you switched to Syria, didn't you? You did switch to Syria, right?
Well, Hezbollah's buddies with Iran and Russia over there and Assad. They're all on the same team, but Hezbollah told them, they said, listen, we've got the upper hand here. There's no reason to block off certain areas that we can't get to. We need to finish taking this to everybody over here.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. If you're fighting, you don't want to say, you can't go into this area. This is America's zone, or this is Jordan's zone, or this is Israel's zone. If you're fighting for a president, you're telling the president, dude, let us finish the war here, man.
Right.
Why block us off from your parts of your own country?
Because it's just a staged event.
Yeah, and so that's what Hezbollah and Iran told Putin today, and so they won't sign on to it. Turkey's even skittish with it because Turkey's getting ready to have a big battle on their southern border there with America and the SDF.
Yeah,
that's said.
So okay, whoa, hang on a second. Let's talk about this for just 1 second. So a NATO nation is going to go to battle with a NATO nation on the southern border of Turkey.
Yeah. Yeah,
how is that going to fly exactly?
I know, that's crazy.
Well, Putin and Assad signed off on this, and this is Putin's going to sit back and laugh watching 2 NATO nations rip each other apart. This is going to hurt NATO. Putin was a smart man with this when it comes to his anti-NATO stuff. He's like, I'm going to pit 2 NATO countries, at least the rebels and some of their special forces against each other, and see if this just ripples through fucking NATO.
You do know that Turkey...
God, don't you just love that strategy? Because NATO sucks. We need to get rid of NATO anyway.
No, we don't.
So he just figured out a way to do it.
You guys do know that Turkey has nuclear weapons.
I think it needs to be better tuned, and I will agree with Trump. People need to pay their fucking share. Why should we pay for everything?
Yeah, we pay.
You guys do know.
I'll agree with them on that. I'll absolutely agree with Trump on that. There's only been 4 or 5 countries out of all of NATO that's been meeting their 2% every.
You guys do know that Turkey has nuclear weapons. Right? Everybody knows that. Yeah. Everybody knows Turkey has nuclear weapons. Okay. Just wanted to put that out.
Well, we also know that if it wasn't for American meddling, that not everybody, we wouldn't have to absorb so much cost if we weren't doing so much fucking meddling.
Exactly.
So if we just butt it out,
the reason
could pay their fair share, because it wouldn't be a whole lot of fucking fair share.
Right. The reason that the United States spends so much money on war is because we pick so many fucking fights. That's the reason.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
No, it's all down to the military-industrial complex, because that's where the money's made.
Right. And you guys are just as big a part of that industrial complex as the U.S.
Exactly. The UK is the biggest arms exporter to Africa,
Middle East,
and all other places than any other country. So,
right. Okay. Next story.
All you got to do is sell bombs to both sides, and you win.
That's what the banks have been doing forever.
Saudi Arabia.
Well, Prince Charles is making arms deals in Qatar. I mean, they were talking about that on Boat.com.
We just sold billions of dollars worth of weapon systems to Qatar. The United States just sold them a bunch of fucking airplanes. Yeah.
And also, we sell a lot of arms to Saudi Arabia to help them with the fight in Yemen. So
there's slaughter in Yemen. War. That's not a fight. That's a slaughter.
I know. It's a proxy war against Iran. That's what it is.
They're trying. The United States and its allies are doing everything they can in their power to get China or Russia or Iran to start a fight, and they're not buying it. They're not buying it.
Jimmy, why do you think Turkey is in NATO? Turkey is in NATO for one reason, because Turkey's been to war with Russia 3 times. So Turkey is in NATO to bring, to try and fuel that aggression against Russia.
Well, see, this just came out. Tillerson, our Secretary Our Secretary of State just put this out today. Then this was the main. He put out a little statement to Russia since Trump's meeting with Putin on Friday, their first face-to-face. This is what our State Department said. Tillerson says, U.S. is prepared to work with Russia to ensure stability, including no-fly zones and on-the-ground ceasefire observers in Syria.
Sorry.
It says, if our two countries work together to establish stability on the ground, it will lay a foundation for progress on the settlement of Syria's political future.
Derp, derpity, derp, 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 derpity, derp, 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 derp.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, you can go on now.
Okay, go back to the economic thing. That's what I think the big thing is that nobody's talking about. Not you guys, but like anybody. I mean, nobody's talking about the economic part of it.
Your phone's breaking up super bad, Kim.
They're the only ones that don't have.
Kim.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's breaking up bad.
Yeah. They're the only ones that don't have central banks, and they're getting ready to reset the gold, and it's going to show the comics and all the. I'm telling you, this is the bigger story, I think, and I think that's what they're going to talk about because this is getting ready to happen.
It's about a pipeline in Syria right now. I mean, if that's the reason that this whole thing started was over a pipeline. So, yeah, but it's following the money. Go ahead, finish your thought, Dave.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, the serious stuff, I think that we're willing to work. I think the way the West is looking at this now is we're willing, it ain't going to work, but we're willing to give now more in Syria so we can get what we want with North Korea and other places. I think we see it's a no-win situation with Syria. Even the new French president, Macron, came out last week and said that Assad can stay.
I don't think they're going to get their way anymore. The United States is just not going to get their way anymore, and they're going to kick this fucking war off, dude. They're gonna do something. They're gonna fuck with somebody somewhere. A plane's gonna fuck with something or shoot something down or whatever. I don't know how they're gonna start it because they can't get China to bite. They can't get Russia to bite. They can't get Iran to bite. So we're gonna have to kick it off, and it's gonna happen sooner or later. We're either gonna have Israel do it down in Syria. Or something's going to kick this fucking shit off, dude, because they're not going to be able to negotiate their way out of this anymore. We got no card in the game.
This is why we're playing both sides of the globe right now. While we're playing with Asia, with North Korea, and we're playing with that part of the world with Syria over there. We figure we're going to get either one of them to happen.
Yep, we've already stolen everybody's gold and rehypothecated shit, and we print all our fucking money because we ain't got nothing to back it up. We got no card in the game anymore,
Well, what's funny is
everybody knows it too.
What's funny is when Trump took over, and he made his first trip overseas to Germany, Angela Merkel, she ain't afraid to express herself. She thinks he's a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. And she don't like him. A lot of our EU allies don't like him. Theresa May don't even like him from Britain. They don't care for him from Britain.
Theresa May's not very well liked by anybody either. So, I mean,
Obama was working, a lot of them were liberals like Obama, so they got along with him, but for some reason Trump come in like a bull in a china shop, which he said he was going to do if he got elected. I'm not going to deny that, but our allies don't like it. And they're like, we just won't deal with you anymore. Canada don't like us now because of him. Mexico don't like us now because of him. The EU is fracturing off in parts that don't like him now because of like us now because of him. And so if his goal was to isolate us from the world, he's actually fucking doing it, and that's a scary thing.
Yeah.
Obama already did it. Now he's
No. Obama the EU got along good with Obama, Canada, because all the EU and Canada are all a bunch of liberals, and they love.
They want him to go to the United Nations. Yeah, they want him to go to the United Nations and run.
Yeah, they loved it. Obama. Trump came in and completely ripped it apart within 5 months.
Do you know why that is? I think it's his attitude. That's why it's his attitude.
It was the incredible glee that I saw that when China left him on the terminal or whatever, where they made him go out the back of the plane. That's what I remember.
You know, I don't support Obama. I didn't like the guy for the whole 8 years. I'm not a liberal. You know, I'm more of a conservative type of guy to a point if I was to vote that way. But I don't, because I know they're all scumbags. The deal is this: is that Trump's doing what he ran on. I will give the dude that. At least he's trying, and he's not doing very good at it. But he's doing what he ran on, and this is what the 35% that voted for him or whatever wanted to see. And so, but these people that all voted for him didn't look at the ramifications of just yanking us out of the global community. You know, you just can't pull America out of the globe like that, because we were calling the shots for the longest time. And for him just to rip us out is asking for a complete chaos. Allies turned against allies, NATO turned against NATO.
That's what they want.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. And like I said, I'm not going to knock Trump for doing what he said he was going to do, but people should have thought that if this guy does do what he said he's going to do, there's going to be shit city happening.
Right.
I still think he's doing what he's told. So,
to a certain extent, I think he's like Putin, because Putin's doing what he's told too. But I think occasionally he looks at everybody that's telling him shit to do, and he's like, "Fuck that! I ain't doing that shit." You know what I mean? He's going rogue. He's going rogue a little bit. But he's still a part of the game, man. He's a Kabbalist. He was a Kabbalist back in 30 fucking years ago. He was studying that shit. So you don't. Well, whatever.
This is how it works. If you were to look last week, Henry Kissinger, a couple weeks before that, Henry Kissinger met with Donald Trump again. Last week, Henry Kissinger met with Vladimir Putin.
Why isn't that guy dead, man? How many fucking babies does he eat?
I didn't know that.
Henry Kissinger, and Putin, we're all tied together. We all pay into the IMF, so we all answer to the bankers, some more than others, down the fucking line. But the deal is this, is that Kissinger has been very good friends with Russia for many, many, many years. And so he's been trying to get Putin. There's something that the Rothschilds want, and they want the West. They want America working with Russia. And for whatever reason. So Kissinger's been going back and forth trying to, he's the one that pretty much arranged this meeting between Putin and Trump coming up.
They're probably deciding who's going to lose how many people,
Yeah.
How many nukes are you going to let us drop over here? And this is how many we're going to let you drop over there. And, we promise we won't hit anywhere near Moscow. We'll each take a 60% loss.
I agree with that. This is going to be a scripted war.
Last July, Putin for 11 days had everybody go underground, like 4 million people, I think, over 7 days. Remember that? Where they went to the
it was a limited test of the exercise, to see if they could actually squeeze that many motherfuckers in a couple of tunnels. So,
right, like a year ago.
Meanwhile, today you got Pakistan that's test firing nuclear-capable missiles. Today they lit off 4 of them. Nuclear-capable missiles, man, and them and India are going at it. And what's funny is that India is sitting on China's border and crossing their border the past couple of days, and China and India are going at it up on their border. China backs Pakistan.
God.
The only thing that makes me think that that's not going to happen is that there's nothing in the WebBot reports about it yet. There's nothing about any kind of limited nuclear exchange. There's nothing about any kind of third world war. There's none of that data is coming back yet. So,
talking about a third world war, I think there will be one, and it is going to be in the Middle East, because the First World War was about the Archdukes. Okay, the Archdukes, the Battle of the Archdukes. Archduke Franz Ferdinand was killed, which sparked everything off, and all the countries backed each other's treaties, and it all, that's history. But the same thing, I think, is happening in the Middle East between Bahrain, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia, and all the rest of them. Because it was reported that Saudi Arabia could run out of oil by 2020. So they are getting worried now. Hence, they are looking at Qatar, who are sitting on an abundance of oil, a plethora of oil. Okay,
liquid natural gas,
exactly, or LPG, or whatever. Yeah, and they can see dollar signs in their eyes. So
that's what we always say: follow the money. It's all about money, man. It's all about money and control of people, because people are money to them.
Yeah, exactly.
We're serfs. We're the battery that keeps everything running.
It's greed. So,
but see, now they're coming to the point now where they've got so many robotic things going on, they don't need much of us anymore, right? I mean, we're all useless eaters. Isn't that what Kissinger called us? Useless eaters. So this is going to be the culling is coming, because they don't need all our mouths anymore.
No, Jimmy, it will change, because with everything,
it's going to change.
There's always a cycle.
It's going to change.
Come back round again.
Yeah.
See, my uncle always said, never throw out your old clothes, because they will always come back in fashion again. Okay, so, which is a good saying. And that can be applied to what's happening in current events, because
if bell bottoms come back around, please shoot me.
Exactly. Well, we had World War One. Now we had World War Two, which was in some respects justified. You can say yes or no about that, but World War One was the Battle of the Archdukes. Okay. Now World War One
was financed by the Rothschilds. World War Two was financed by the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and the Bushes.
Yeah. So I mean, World War Three will be the same.
Exactly.
Because
and all those motherfuckers live right down the street from you.
It will be the Battle of the Sheikhs, okay? Because
it's going to be a battle between Islam and Christianity.
Well, well, it is at the moment, but the big ignition in the Middle East will be the Battle of the Sheikhs, because it's all tribal, okay? And this has been going on for years. The House of Saud is falling apart anyway. It is. Well, it's been going on for decades and decades and decades anyway. But it's come to a head ever since Trump visited the Middle East. And he visited Qatar and he visited Saudi Arabia. And since then, it's all kicked off. So he's probably said, do this, do that, do the other. And so they have. And now shit is kicking off. So
it's all staged,
expect a bit of shake, rattle, and roll soon. Okay, shake, rattle, and roll. Okay.
You put us through all that bullshit just to get that little trick line in? Are you
kidding me, man? No.
Right. Go ahead, David.
Honestly,
I know.
This came out about an hour ago. In Venezuela, says pro-Maduro militias have stormed Congress, setting off explosives and kidnapping congressmen.
Say that again.
Venezuela's going off the fucking cliff, man.
What happened? Say that one more time.
It says pro-Maduro militias stormed Congress, setting off explosives and kidnapping congressmen.
Wow. What? Wasn't it just like last week some pilot took over a helicopter and flew around and started shooting through the fucking windows and throwing grenades out of it and shit? Yeah, that place is off the chain, man. If anybody's got any vacation plans down there this summer, I'm just saying.
Everything's falling apart everywhere. Is what I'm seeing, man. I mean, I know there's always been little wars here or there, but there's big ones. Civil wars, regular wars breaking out everywhere, man.
Yep. And this is why this is all affecting the collective conscious of the planet. This is not going to stop. It's going to continuously get worse until it affects us all. And then there's major change coming, because there's going to be a lot of dead people after that.
North Korea just put out a message just now from the KCNA. Says the DPRK will send the U.S. and its followers more gift packages as they are steeped in gangster-like logic.
Yep. He said that earlier today, too. They sent the first one, they sent that ICBM up because of 4th of July. It was like a present to us, 4th of July.
They called us a bunch of bastards.
Yeah. We talk shit about him all the time, too, man.
Yeah, called us Yankee bastards.
They've been talking shit about the North Koreans since I was a kid. They've always been a boogeyman in the back pocket of our administration, somebody to be scared of. Oh God, here comes North Korea! Every time that's convenient for them, they need their minions, us, to be distracted from something that's going on Capitol Hill. Oh my God, North Korea!
That's true. It's true. Yeah.
I know, because I see through their bullshit now.
Well, that's what gets me. If Kim Jong-un isn't an asset of the CIA and that acts out when he's told to for a distraction. You know, Trump was getting hammered in the headlines with this Russia-Trump stuff, and now Trump's going to meet with him, and they don't want that on the headlines. They don't want the headlines about Trump and Putin, even though it's going to be. So what gets me is this, is did they tell little Kim, hey, dude, launch this fucking missile here so we can get all the news headlines here in America changed around?
Yeah, because they don't want us talking about Illinois being the first state in history to file for bankruptcy. They don't want us to talk about New Jersey getting ready to file for bankruptcy. They don't want us to talk about Maine getting ready to file for bankruptcy, or Pittsburgh, or Pennsylvania, or California, or the 30-plus other states that have red on their books, and this country is $20 trillion plus in debt. They don't want us to talk about all that. So we all got to talk about North Korea.
Jimmy, I think the CIA sent Rodman over to North Korea with
shit in a hallway again?
Timetable of
events
stuff
yeah.
for Kim to do
yeah.
to cover exactly what you're talking about.
That's why he was only there for 2 days. He dropped off some paperwork, shook a couple of hands, took a couple pictures, got back on a plane, and got the fuck out of there before they kidnapped him.
And he claimed he didn't even meet with him. You know, he's like, "Oh, you went all the way there. You don't even." He said, "Well, I haven't met with him a couple times. I've went there."
Yeah, he met with his handlers.
Like, you go all the way there just not to even meet with the guy.
Met with the undercover. He met with the undercover CIA handlers that are there telling Kim what to do.
He said he gave him a book of The Art of the Deal with Donald Trump and a couple other cheap ass gifts that he named. You know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, man. That's why I think, you know, I think that a lot. He's a CIA asset, and then when we want news changed around in this country and around the world, we tell him to do something.
If he would have met with Kim or any of Kim's real affiliates, he probably would have been kidnapped. It's like I said before, he shit in the hallway of the embassy.
Yeah.
He would have been kidnapped, and they would have probably killed him. Or he would have been beaten to unconsciousness and then shipped back over here with fucking massive internal injuries and die a couple days later like the other kid. You know, that's why he only spent 2 days there. He dropped off what they wanted him to drop off, and then he got the fuck out.
Yep, exactly. I do believe
there was no fanfare when he left. There was no fanfare when he got back. When he got back, he landed in the United States. There was a couple of reporters that stuck cameras in his face for a minute, and that was nothing. It was a nothing burger. To quote,
and the deal is, what 2 shirts are him and his agent wearing that fat short thing, wearing, you know, what was it, potcoin.com, and they're advertising for a pot company on the way over there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what a joke. I laughed. I said, is this for real?
This whole damn thing's a joke, dude. The United States is a joke.
It's crazy.
Yep. That's why I'm saying we don't have any cards left in the big game anymore. We're a laughing stock. The dollar's worth less than 3 cents on the world market, people.
How about the UK sterling? That's gone straight down.
Yeah, so, you know, because the entire Euro Union is going to collapse just as quickly as the United States.
Thanks to Brexit and our votes come out of Europe, the increase in American tourism has gone through the roof. There are more of your people coming over to the UK now because of the weaker pound. so it's they can spend more of their dollars in this country. Because
it's probably the last vacation they'll get in, and they hope they don't get caught in a terrorist act when they're over there. You know, there's another thing that goes very underreported in the news nowadays is that more Mexicans are headed back to Mexico than cross the border to come here. I bet you people didn't know that, did you? Because they don't talk about that very much. Go look it up if you don't believe me.
That's great.
You know, Putin and Xi Jinping of China met the other day.
Were they playing golf?
What's that, Putin?
Were they playing golf?
I don't think so.
Oh, no. Putin and Xi Jinping. So they were out riding bears or something. Go ahead.
Anyway, they met, and they come out, their message just came out, and it says their main message out of their bilateral meeting says Putin, Xi message to Trump, U.S. unipolar world is over. And it says the U.S. strategy has been to isolate Russia internationally. Evidently, it is Washington that is becoming more isolated on the global stage.
That doesn't sound good.
We're going to go to war.
Yeah, we'll have to go bomb
and all the riches the West once had are all going to switch to the East. And like I said, everybody's in on this, though. It ain't like Trump doesn't know what he's doing with this. He's got a script just like Putin and the president of China has. And all the while, this is where the BRICS comes in, and this is why the IMF has backed up this new BRICS and everything. They've thrown their support behind it.
What was the book that the first week Obama was in office, they caught him walking toward Air Force One to go on a flight somewhere, and he had a book in his hand, and they blew up that book. You guys, anybody remember what it was?
Yeah. I don't remember what it said, though, but I know what you're talking about.
The Post-American World was the title of the book. The Post-American World.
Yeah, that's it.
This is all staged, people. This is all staged. The collapse of the United States has been staged for 100+ years. Since the bankers started taking over our money, they have been playing a game with this country. They've been getting filthy fucking rich off of this country. And now they have squeezed out every dime. I say this all the time, man. They have squeezed every dime they can get out of us. 100+ million people don't have a fucking job anymore that had a job 10 years ago. Okay? They've squeezed every dime out of us they can get out of us. And now they're going to set us in the shitter and leave us on our own. Deagle.com has had the population of the United States by 2020, 3 years from now, 2.5.
Well, I look at it as
2020, 65 million people. Not 365 million, 65 million.
Trump was a psyop brought in to bring on a civil war in this nation too, and now you've got people split right down the middle now with him.
Yep.
You've got those hardcore support. I've never seen such a hardcore base like he has, and I'll give that to him. Those ones that do support him, they're willing to go down fighting for him.
Never in history has the opponent tried to get the president out of office the way they've tried to get Trump out of office since he took control. They didn't even do it. They didn't do it against. They didn't do it against Obama. You know, there was a couple people looking into his birth certificate and shit, but they never tried to get him fucking impeached or whatever. They impeached Clinton and they fucking reelected him for shit's sake.
I can't understand why the Republican Party in your country did put the nomination for Donald Trump to run for president. Why did they do that if they don't like him?
It's a game, man. Haven't you been paying attention?
I know it's a game.
Haven't you been paying attention?
It doesn't make sense.
Does anything these fucking rich assholes do make sense to you, brother? Come on, man.
Well, no.
Come on.
No, of course
Wake up a little bit more, man. Wake up a little bit more.
I'm awake.
No, you're not. No, you're not even close to being awake, JR.
Slightly comatose. I'm slightly comatose, but I'm slightly lucid. Yeah?
Well, you got some good points about you. You're just like me, man. You're just like me. I don't know anything about anything either. I just know what I've seen and done and read, you know.
Exactly.
So I'm not trying to throw any stones at you. I just don't think that you're as awake as you think you are. But a lot of my friends are that way. I say it all the time. A lot of my friends are that way. I've got, I don't know how many friends on Facebook, and maybe 25 of them are halfway awake. And they're not as awake as they think they are either. So,
Timmy, I understand what you're saying. Okay.
But it's that way with everybody, right? I mean, when you're talking to other people.
The reason that they backed him, he's the only one that could beat Hillary Clinton. And that was what they were faced with. That's it. That's the only reason that they backed him.
That's true.
He's the only one that could beat her.
Bernie
and that's the only reason he's our president right now.
I think Bernie was just an idiot, and they didn't want him even getting close to that shit, so that's why they stole the election from him. Yeah.
You know, South Korea just came out, made a statement, says what worries us is the uncertainty of whether the U.S. would defend us if North Korea attacks Seoul. Wow, that's heavy.
Read that again, man. Read that again in case somebody missed it.
South Korea's main newspaper has come out and says what worries us is the uncertainty of whether the United States would defend us if North Korea attacks Seoul.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. They don't trust us. They don't trust Trump.
The answer is yes, but that sounds like a South Korean CNN network trying to throw some propaganda out there.
Right, getting all their people scared to death.
Yep. It's from the June Gang. It's one of their newspapers out there.
Newspaper.
Wow.
Well, magazine.
They didn't say anything about Japan coming to help them. Imagine, they didn't say anything about Russia coming to help. They didn't say anything about China coming to help. Just the U.S.
And they also said we cannot be sure if the U.S. would risk a nuclear attack on New York or Los Angeles, though, either. It seems like Trump's a wild card. These people don't know which way he's going to go. I mean, he's playing his part, man. He's confusing everybody.
Right.
Well, like I said, this is also scripted, and that's what's so scary, man.
Yeah, because they know exactly what's going to happen. The only people that don't
they
is
know
us.
What's going on. We don't.
Yep. The only people that don't know is us, the people paying the bills.
We're the pawns.
How much did it cost them to shoot off all those missiles the other day when they were trying to flex their penises against little Kim? They launched a bunch of intercontinental, or not ICBMs, but they launched a bunch of high altitude interceptor rockets and how much money did that cost us, man? We're $20 trillion in debt already, people.
That's what I don't get. I'm like, why are you blowing this shit into the ocean? You think little Kim cares if you're launching these or not?
Right. Unless they're headed for him, he don't give a shit.
I feel sorry for the fish. So see, not only are we doing it, but Kim is doing it as well. And the fish are getting targeted.
Did they warn any of the vessels out in the ocean that they were going to fucking doss a bunch of rockets out there that they could potentially get hit by?
Well, yeah.
Did they just shut down the South China Sea and say no shipping traffic through here any longer because we're going to play, footsie with this cat over here? No. Because they don't give a shit. Just like they didn't give a shit about that vessel that got hit by the tug or by the
no, you hadn't heard jack shit about that.
They don't give a shit. It's just more money that you got to spend to fix that fucking boat, which just got out of repairs a couple of months ago.
Yeah. So, you haven't heard the real story on that. The real story hasn't been brought out. That I think that something happened somewhere, man. Either that captain or someone was wasted on that other I don't know. Something's not right with that.
Yeah, there's no way that boat made a U-turn on autopilot and went back and hit another vessel. There's just no possible way that happened. There was some traffic going. I'd love to get the radio traffic. I'd love to hear the radio traffic that night. But I don't think we'll ever get it. We'll never get the real story out of that. Never. Mm-hmm. And seven people get stuck in the ground, and nobody gives a shit about them either, except their families. So a little bit of payout.
There really wasn't a big thing about 7 of our sailors died in one instant, and they didn't even make a big thing about it. That kind of upset me, being ex-Navy. I'm like, this is a huge thing, and you're barely giving it. You're talking more about the ship getting wrecked and the people getting killed.
The cargo vessel was flagged out of the Philippines. What are we going to do? Go to war with the Philippines?
Yep.
Well, ISIS is in the Philippines at the moment, correct?
Yeah, but Duterte is going to eat their livers, so. That's the last thing he said. He's gonna kill them all and eat their livers for coming over there and fucking with his country.
Yeah, three of his troops got beheaded, so he's pissed off.
Right. When it comes to Duterte, I wouldn't put it past the motherfucker.
Yeah,
that guy's full of that guy's. Yeah, he's full of energy. I'll just put it that way. I don't think he's crazy. I think he's tired of his country getting walked over by other bigger countries. We've been doing it. We've been doing it forever.
He sounds crazy.
Well, when you get pissed off, sometimes you do, right?
10-4.
There you go. All right, next story, David.
What else here?
Italy's getting ready to leave the EU. If anybody didn't hear about that, so it's not Brexit anymore. It's the Italieve. Italy openly discusses the Euro exit in Parliament. Debt restructuring, or Italieve, is on the way. There's a story from Zero Hedge. I got it on my Twitter feed if you guys want to read about it. I just thought I'd go ahead.
Catalonia's talking about breaking away too or something, or
right?
Yeah, Spain. Yeah. That's the best.
Spain's going down, man. They had to bail out 2 banks. They just taxed the Spanish citizens $14 billion to bail out these 2 banks. So
if Spain goes down, and Italy goes down, the EU is dead. Literally dead. Okay? In fact,
nobody wants to be there. The Scottish referendum's coming back around too. They're going to wind up exiting the EU.
Not yet. Sturgeon, no.
Well, we'll see.
She said she put it on hold because she lost in the recent general election. She lost a lot of support because of that Scottish referendum. Now she's put it on the back burner. She's not ruling it out because she's SNP, Scottish National Party. She believes in a independent Scotland. So that is their main mandate, we could say. A bit like UKIP wanted to be out of Europe. Now we've got that. UKIP have gone down. But it will come back because Farage is going to retake the helm, he said. So Scotland are going to concentrate on what Scotland should do, is ruling Scotland. And not worry about being independent. What they should be doing is getting more devolution from Westminster, which means more power that they can use to govern Scotland. Not independence, because we're a united kingdom. We need to stay united, and I believe in our unity. And Scotland need to have more power, a bit like Wales, my homeland, Wales. Maybe because I've got Welsh blood in me. So the other countries in the United Kingdom need to have more devolved powers. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And
that's all nice and kumbaya-ish and stuff, but that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. The EU is collapsing.
Because it's Westminster. And this is what's annoying everybody. Not only people who live in England, but because myself, who lives in England, wants to see more autonomy for Scotland. I want to see more autonomy for Wales. I want to see more autonomy for Northern Ireland. But I want to keep the unity of the United Kingdom, because
it's not the unity of the United Kingdom. It's the Queen owning them. And they don't want to be owned anymore by the Crown. So they're going to tell you guys to piss off, and the shit's going to collapse, man. It's just that simple. They're tired of being owned. They want their freedom. They want their independence to make their own goddamn decisions.
Again.
Whatever. It's done.
I don't want
that. Done. Nobody's going for that shit anymore. The corruption is to the fucking hilt. Everybody's sick of it.
Of course.
They all know about it. The word gets out because of this little thing called the internet.
Name one country where there's no corruption.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The whole world's tired of it, and we're getting ready to see a whole fucking paradigm shift. But the people with all the money are going to wind up killing a bunch of us in the process. So, you got to get ready for that.
It makes it worse. We're the pawns, okay? We're the pawns in a big chess game. So it makes it the odds about us.
We're not even pawns, man. We're not even pawns. We don't, the pawns are the soldiers and the militaries and stuff like that. Those are the pawns. We are the battery that keeps their engines running. Everybody keeps feeding them all this fucking tax money and shit, and nobody, nobody does anything about anything. They just blow their mouth off about it, right? But these other countries are starting to get the idea. There's tens of thousands of people showing up in the streets to protest the G20 right now, right? There's protests going on in Venezuela's coming apart at the fucking seams, man. These countries. There's a lot of people on the planet that have had enough.
I know, it's good, and it's called civil disobedience, and it should be.
It's not going to be civil very much longer, brother. I mean, if you watch the videos, it's not very civil now.
I've seen the videos.
So,
but listen, what we should be doing.
And it's not disobedience either. It's the people wanting their fucking freedom back. They're tired of the government. They're tired of government corruption.
Against the governments. They're standing up for themselves.
That's not disobedience. That's called being a patriot.
They're giving the governments a bloody nose, which you should do, because the governments are bullying the people.
All right.
And I was going to say, what was I going to say?
I don't know.
You can.
It's all right. We'll throw it to Dave. Dave, you got anything else over there in your stack of stuff, man? We got about 15 minutes left.
What else here?
Sure went by quick.
This came out from our State Department. It says U.S. and Russia have unresolved differences on a number of issues, but we have the potential to appropriately coordinate in Syria. And that's exactly what I was just talking about earlier. Yeah. We're willing to work with Russia on Syria, but everywhere else we're not.
Yeah, that's just a ploy, dude. That's just a ploy. That's just words. They're not willing to work with anybody. Hell, Russia invaded our fucking computers, man.
Oh yeah, hacking. There you go. There's another thing we can talk about.
We're gonna prosecute you guys in the press for fucking trying to fix an election that we all had. We know you had nothing to do with. But we're gonna crucify you in the press for that. But it's cool, man, because we'll talk to you about Syria. Bullshit.
How about these? Malware attacks? Do you think they are cruising for a bigger attack which would take out all of the world's global internet systems or servers?
I don't think they're going to take down the internet. I think they're going to take down the banks.
I think they're going to take down the power grids throughout the United States.
That's what I'm talking about.
I think they'll hit the banks. I don't know. Lance, what do you think?
I think they'll hit the banks, but I think the power grid going down would take care of a lot of things for them.
Well,
we've been saying that forever.
Yeah. The only reason that I think they're going to target the banks is because of what just happened a couple of days ago with the ATMs for who was it? Capital One, I think. All their ATMs went down across the United States. Let me see if I can find the story really quick. I doubt it because I tweet so much shit.
What's not been reported, there's a group called Shadow Brokers. They are the ones which brought in or highlighted the
Chase.
NSA.
Here it is.
The NSA exploit,
which
has been exploited by the malware.
It is the CIA, man. These people that are doing all this fucking hacking and stuff and saying that they're anonymous sources. That's all CIA backed, man. It's all CIA backed.
I know it is. I know. Yeah, I can see through that anyway. So
okay, here it is. This happened just let's see, what day was this dropped on? Oh, yesterday, 4th of July. Huh, imagine that. The second largest bank network in the U.S. went down coast to coast, leaving customers unable to access their accounts or withdraw money Monday. With less than the day before the 4th of July, many on Twitter speculated the outage to be the latest Russian hack. On Monday, JP Morgan Chase announced that they were experiencing some slowness on parts of Chase.com and the mobile app. We're actively working on it and hope to have things back to normal soon, Trish Wexler told the Washington Post. At 12:15 Eastern Standard Time, Chase tweeted that they were working to restore full access to our website and mobile app. A message on the Chase website explained to customers that the outages were due to the bank making a few improvements, according to the Plain Dealer in Cleveland. The bank said customers would not be able to access their information or schedule bill payments or transfers. However, customers reported that the entire branches had been shut down Monday, while others complained they were unable to pay bills or their rent, withdraw money from any ATM, or even access their information over the phone or in person. Here's a little post that they put up, a little picture that somebody has up of the bank that they tried to get into. It says, unfortunately, due to a system issue, we are unable to process transactions or access accounts. We apologize for the inconvenience and hope to be back up and running as soon as possible. Thank you. And that was on the door that was locked. Okay. So some even reported their account balance showed zero or simply read not available. By 8 p.m., Chase declared that their site and app were back to full strength. They also said that any deposits made to Chase checking and saving accounts on Monday would be available on Tuesday. While many on Twitter vented anger at the bank, others speculated the outages were caused by a massive Russian attack. So anyway, this is what they call a test run for a bank holiday where you have no access to your money and the banks don't give a shit. Lance?
The first rule, I was just going to say, the first rule of setting up any web server in the West is you block Russia. Okay? That's it. If you don't block Russia, you're dead. Job done.
Lance, you want to fill us in about what you know about bank holidays and stuff?
Well, I mean, we've always said it would go down on a bank holiday anyway, but no, I hadn't even heard that story. I didn't hear it on Good Morning America. Didn't hear it on my local news.
Really? Because it was down the entire day.
I did not hear that story today.
Wow. Well, it was dropped yesterday. Today's the 5th.
Yeah, I mean, I still followed some stuff yesterday, watched news yesterday. That's amazing. I hadn't heard of that.
I tweeted it, so you should have seen it.
Maybe. I mean, there's a lot of twits going around.
So I got a couple things here really quick I want to get out. Man says FBI agents who sold him a machine gun and silencer also urged him in a mass shooting plot. This is out of the Salt Lake Tribune. Lawyers for a man charged in a mass shooting plot in downtown Milwaukee say that their client refused to participate when urged by FBI informants. They say harassed him for months. The Milwaukee Journal Sentinel reports that a lawyer for 25-year-old Sami Mohammed Hamzi claimed entrapment in the case and have asked Hamzi to be released from jail on bail pending his February trial. Hamzi was arrested in 2016 on 2 counts of possessing a machine gun and 1 count of possessing a silencer, which he bought from an undercover FBI agent. Federal prosecutors allege he was planning to kill at least 30 people at a Masonic center to defend Islam. Federal public defenders say their client repeatedly protested the informant's proposals and that he only wanted a legal handgun to protect himself. Lawyers for a man charged in a mass shooting plot in downtown Milwaukee say their client refused to participate when urged by FBI informants. They say harassed him for months. The Milwaukee Journal Sentinel reported that the lawyer for the 25-year-old have asked Hamzi to be released from jail on bail pending his February trial. Hamzi was arrested in 20. They just repeated everything I just read. I don't know why they just repeated everything I just read. Anyway, I bet you guys didn't hear about that one, did you? Because I didn't hear about that one until today. Anyway, I bet that doesn't get a whole lot of play on the air up in Milwaukee even, simply because he's accusing the FBI of trying to dog him into killing people. Oh, let's see. NASDAQ triggered the circuit breaker as Amazon crashed 87% after hours on Zero Hedge. This was a couple of days ago. I don't know if you guys saw any of that, but yeah, that was kind of interesting how that all these 3 different companies all wound up at 123.47 on the NASDAQ. All of them. All
Why did Amazon crash?
They triggered their little trigger thingies to save everybody's asses, whatever.
But why did the shares go down?
I have no idea. It's just said that there was a glitch in the system.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, I've heard that before.
Some armed guy tried to seize a helicopter in Hillsboro, got shot to death. That was on KOIN. We're not going to hear a lot about that either, probably. Bunch of weapons got stolen in Portugal. Not going to hear about that either, probably. The FBI van that got stolen in Chicago, not going to hear about that, probably. They took all the weapons and body armor and stuff out of it. There's 56 people dead in massive floodings in China that are affecting 11 million people. Didn't hear a lot about that. There's been massive flooding in Japan. Didn't hear a lot about that.
And also, I think there's been flooding in Mexico as well, hasn't there?
Yeah. Here's one that probably not going to get a whole lot of airtime over here in the United States either. A casket containing a child's organs was found on a Philadelphia street. Oops. I'm going to read this one to you. An evening stroll turned gruesome in Philadelphia Monday when a casket discovered across the street from a cemetery was found to contain a bag of organs belonging to either an infant or a child. What was in the bag was sick. Chris James, one of the first to discover the casket shortly after 9 p.m., told RT. We were curious to see what was inside, but it's dangerous in many ways to touch something so random, he said. James, who streamed the incident live on his Facebook page, said another witness called police who opened the casket to find layers of cloth, which, once removed, revealed a bag containing the organs. According to the medical examiner, they were in fact human organs. They believe the organs belonged to either an infant or child. Chief Inspector Scott Small told KYW, what's unusual is other than the bag of organs, There's no body.
It depends how big the organs were. It might have been a miscarriage.
The discovery was made next to Mount Vernon. I'm pretty sure that a medical examiner would know if it was if it was a
miscarriage
or something. Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty sure a medical examiner would know that. The discovery was made next to Mount Vernon Cemetery and Laurel Hill Cemetery, which police said will be searched by cadaver dogs. James provided RT with video of the police at the scene opening the casket to make the gruesome discovery. If you guys want to go watch that, you can. The casket was fresh and newly pried open, according to police. The casket was fresh and newly pried open.
That sounds gruesome.
Investigators are yet to determine if the casket was stolen from a funeral home or dug up from the cemetery. This will be a story that I'd like to keep an eye on just to see how this turns out.
That sounds weird.
Okay. So we got a few minutes left. David, you got any last minute stack of stuff? I got a couple more things on here if you don't, but go ahead. David? David?
Oh, I'm here.
Okay.
This just came out from Yonhap just now to South Korea. This is their naval ships there. Their military has just held precision strike drills off the coast there, launching missiles and everything else. It sounds like people are gearing up, man.
Yeah, here's something else that completely slipped my mind. I wanted to ask you about why are we putting troops in Bulgaria exactly? Because we've got a bunch of troops in Bulgaria now. Did any of that hit your wire this week?
No, I haven't seen any of that.
Oh, this was from already happened on Twitter. Let's see here. I thought you.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they're NATO, I think.
Yeah, this was tweeted out 4th of July, man. Hey, 4th of July, guys. Today, a U.S. military convoy has successfully arrived in Bulgaria, and troops start to set up a camp base. This political uncertainty in U.S.-Russia relations introduces a further complicating factor in an already tense and challenging military deterrence relationship between Russia and NATO. The sharp deterioration of relations between NATO and Russia from 2013 has already caused both sides to readjust their doctrines. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. It's just got a link to another article. But anyway, yeah, we've got, let's see, a military convoy. I'm guaranteeing you there's at least 700 people there, probably.
Yeah. I think it might be due to what Russia's doing in Alaska, the Arctic. See, Russia's trying to influence the Arctic at the moment because there's a lot of oil reserves up there. Mm-hmm. And I think Obama said the Arctic should be protected. But I think Russia's got other ideas.
Well, they control a lot more of the Arctic than we do. So what they do what they do on their own grounds, their own business. Yeah, we've had one of the largest oil rigs sitting off the coast of Alaska, ready to pump from a reserve that they found back in the 70s. That it's larger than all the oil in Saudi Arabia. So it's all about money, man. It's all about money. I'm always going to continue to go back to that when it comes to about any kind of oil reserves or.
That's why I always say I want to abolish money. So if you abolish money, you abolish greed, and everybody will be equal.
Yeah, that means economic collapse worldwide. That's what's getting ready to happen.
Hopefully.
Mm-hmm. They're going to readjust and try to give us a new world currency that we all use.
And we'll all be equal.
I doubt that.
That would be great, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but if you don't know
everybody, from one person on the street to the person who was the Queen, for example, and the person on the street, they will both be equal. There will be no class.
As long as there's two penises on this planet, there's going to be a fight about something. I promise you.
I know. But that's the way. Well, we're human.
Yeah.
We're human. And that's it. We can't change that. Well, we can, but we can't.
Yeah. The numbers reported by the United States government and the people that were killed in the U.S.-led war on terror is thought to be 10 times higher than what the United States claims. So all the innocents that you've heard about getting bombed to death because of the war on terror, multiply that by 10. We're like a cancer. We're like a cancer.
Well, it will be nuked eventually. Don't worry.
The world population buys 1 million plastic bottles a minute.
Yeah, well, yeah. The Sky News in this country are doing a actual thing on this. The amount of plastics in the ocean and the fact that it's killing marine life, which is old news. I've known this for ages. Mm-hmm. But the mainstream media in the UK now, or a mainstream media channel owned by Rupert Murdoch, Sky News, is saying a lot of plastic is killing fish, killing this, killing that, and it's getting back into the human food chain, so it's killing us as well. So it's coming back on us, what we are putting in there, which is common sense. It's only
karma.
Right,
what that is.
It's karma, yeah. It's common sense. If we put crap in the ocean, we eat stuff in the ocean, we're eating our own crap, basically, aren't we? So that's it. What more can you say?
The popular heartburn drugs Prevacid, Prilosec, and Nexium are linked to a 25% higher death risk.
Heart attacks?
Whatever. I'm not going to read the whole story. I'm just telling you guys some headlines that came across.
Heartburn. Now, that's what you call karma, having a heartburn remedy and then having a heart attack after. That's karma.
The author of Clinton Cash is sounding the alarm over Jared Kushner's partnership with George Soros. Something else you might want to keep an eye on if you're watching the administration. I'm pretty sure that goes very deep.
That's deep.
Because Kushner owes everybody money.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else came out? Oh, here's something. Where'd it go? Damn it. There we go. This is from the Drudge Report. Actually, it's from the Chicago Tribune, sorry. Violence leaves about 60 shot, 8 of them dead for 4th of July weekend. Guess where? Chicago, Illinois. Dozens of people were struck by gunfire in Chicago, some of them fatally during the traditional violent 4th of July weekend. Traditionally violent 4th of July. What's that say about your city, Rom? Mostly in part of the south and southwest sides have long been plagued by gang and gun crime violence. From Friday afternoon through Tuesday afternoon, about 60 people were shot, with 8 of them killed, according to data kept by the Tribune. The toll comes as the Chicago PD added roughly 1,300 police officers to work each day since Friday to patrol the violent neighborhoods. Didn't do much good, did it? Parks, CTA transit system, and the lakefront where the large crowds formed to celebrate the holiday and watch fireworks. This year's shootings toll was similar to recent 4th of July weekends, though direct comparisons are difficult because the holiday fell off on a Tuesday this year. The shootings this year occurred in communities. I'm getting some feedback from somebody, so one of y'all needs to mute that just unmuted. This year occurred in communities long beset by violence, such as Rose.
It's Kim.
Kim, mute your mic, please. Thank you. I think. Nope. Thank you. No. Okay. So whatever. 60 dead in July. 60 dead, or 60 shot. 8 dead. Okay. And we're over anyway, so we're going to go ahead and end the show. Let's see. Let me get back over here to my page. And I'll get ready to hit this thing here. All right.
Jimmy, please, can I say thank you for having me on, and take care all, be safe, and have a good night. And,
appreciate it, man.
Okay, cheers, thank you. Yes, and it's also been a good show.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Lance, thank you too. David, appreciate you. Kim, thanks. Everybody out there, I don't say it near often enough, but everybody, all you listeners, all you people that are in the chat room right now, you're the reason that I do all this stuff. So keep coming back, and I'll keep doing it. You know, if you guys give up on me, I'm going to give up on you. I don't want to do that. So
never, Jimmy, never.
Love, peace, and cookies, everybody.
That's all. And